I heard him. I heard Eric talking last time he had on. He was pretty good, and he was pretty good through this too. But there was a couple of points that I just could not, especially the state note that he threw in there about it. It's like, I do not absolutely trust the state whatsoever. They're enforcers, right? They enforce their budget. They keep track of the annual standards. The federal government, wherever you have some Fed, looks at the stuff, and they're just overseers. That's all they are. That's all that they should do. They don't really need to write any new laws. Why do they need to write any new laws? Especially abortion law and Common Core, things like that. There's an emergency. People said it was an emergency. Box and Box said it's an emergency. That's the Fed's job. Can't do it anybody else's job. Palin from Alaska wasn't responsible for what to deal with that information, how to OPORT briefing, I think is what it is, in terms of FTX brief meshing on what it is. Look, that's going to be a hit. We gotta have a camp that's ready to handle that. Give us a time frame as far as what a state would need to do or a business, and be able to play through. Because then you can prep it accordingly, bitch and say somebody missed it. I did like this opener, though.
Since you're good at imagining what the future will look like, what does America look like?
I thought that was beautiful historically.
Well, we're coming to an inflection point, and I think we are in the 1977. You know, the Carter administration, which you think about the 70s, was a major setback for
There's
the
only
West.
ever X, Y, and Z.
All kinds of foreign policy setbacks.
Like, it's a tangent.
Inflation and stagflation and high unemployment and the oil crises and all the rest. And we just had what did Carter say? We had a malaise.
Yeah.
And leadership can turn it around. Just like leadership can turn a failed business around.
Malaise has got to be a
quickly,
specific definition.
Good leadership can turn a country around.
Otherwise, it's just
yes, our
a word,
Congress
somebody, a fancy
is
word,
useless
which is great.
in the wrong direction, but there's a reason the founding fathers set it up so that every 2 years you can throw the bums out.
Yep.
Do
I
so.
agree.
The same
we
with
have
Senate. You can
impeachments
turn
and
over
other
a
things
third of
just
those
in case.
senators every 2 years. The country requires leadership, and whether that's election integrity, if you do that on your local basis, and if you know.
No.
I think the biggest problems in America
Pause.
stem from the.
That'd be the first of one. One, we need the vote.com. Why we're using mail-in ballots when we have secure systems. Those are programs. Those are hacking standards. You bait them out. Who's going to be stupid enough to secure it and then kick them in the dick real good? We're having no mercy on something like that. You decided today to get in the line of something where you should die for what that penalty is. You get in there and elect, getting on here about the computer frauds on those and graph and stuff. It's like, why? Credit cards, everything else, they work fine. And then I can play off of the vote.com, federal Jacobian matrix for the state down to the local town halls and everything like that. And using that same mainframe, I should be able to back that thing down. Of course it's a monster. Of course it's a fucking monster. We choose to do the other thing. Okay? It's out of here.
From the fact that the federal government has gotten way too large, and I think we need to maximize the 10th Amendment. States' rights, limiting the powers of the federal government to stuff that has only been directly entitled to the federal government to do. Otherwise, it's left to the states.
Nope.
So states have to be much stronger.
Absolutely not. See, when you get to the state point of it, it's like that might be a fair statement. It might be a fair statement. But on the far end of it, like you have individually, again, I can't come from New York and go to Ohio and have two different education standards. 8th grade physics, whether it's a Class A school or Class D school, does not matter. When a student comes out of that military base, right? Because let's look at the board meetings for who's board supervisors on those things. Are there totally different standards? Stoker over here wrote up the numbers. So is he, because he's a first sergeant, he is the first sergeant's variable that he wrote up after the briefing. So that was a good idea. Vote goes around, hits the federal government. Not to say I want, this was what that is, but we have communication barriers between those things that really make that a necessary tool to do a certain job, and then it'd be worth, whatever cut out on the
Stronger,
contract that it is.
flexing
It's
those
like
muscles
hours
and
are
say, "No, we're
hours.
not going to pay for your stupidity
There's going to
in
be
Washington."
gravity,
That's exactly
obviously.
right.
Those are the simplest costs.
I said this was my
And
last
then back
question,
to
but I
high
have to get
school,
to this.
back
So
to
this is your
calculus,
book,
back
which
to
is excellent.
cosmetology,
The Inside Story of
geology,
Blackwater.
anthropology, archeology.
Page 180. You have this picture, and I don't know if we can come in on this. It's right here. And it says, three then Senators Joe Biden, Chuck Hagel, and John Kerry, the future Vice President, Secretary of Defense, and Secretary of State, respectively, pose while waiting for Blackwater rescue. What is that?
Yeah, so they were on a congressional visit to Afghanistan in the winter.
Just wanna make sure I got the
their
points
U.S.
out.
Army helicopter